Café and Networking Podcast promotes entrepreneurs, startups, authors, business experts throughout the world. I'm Tom Reaoch, an American known as the King of Networking, connecting people and speaking from my studio in Vinhedo, São Paulo, Brazil. And today we talk with Shana Francesca. She's joining us from Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, in the United States. Shana is a speaker, writer, and entrepreneur. As the founder and lead designer at Concinnate, which is a multidiscipline interior design firm and life design firm, working with clients around the U.S. and internationally as well. So, Shana, what is life design?
Hi, Tom. Yeah, that's a really great question. Life design is about becoming ever more intentional with the choices we make every day, down to the smallest decisions, down to the perfume we wear, the deodorant, the shampoo, right? Coordinating those things, thinking about how those scents contribute to our life experience, right? Because scent is our strongest connection to memory and to emotion, right? So understanding our senses, understanding our interaction with our own life. And it's about weighing all of our decisions that we make against the story we want our life to tell, which requires us to get really clear on the story we want our life to tell. And I think because there's so much noise coming at us in our lives all the time, it becomes increasingly more difficult to understand that we are the author of our own story rather than allowing everything else to dictate what our story is to us or what our story should be. And that word should is constantly flung at us, whether consciously or subconsciously, through all the marketing we interact with every single day. And so when we take a step back and we get quiet and we get clear on the story we want our life to tell, but we have to get quiet first, right? We can't hear our inner voice. We can't hear our inner voice if we're being bombarded constantly. And it's about being really intentional. It's not about turning everything off, right? This is not about extremes. This is about understanding, okay, so maybe for an hour a day or a couple hours a day, I put my phone away. I put it in another room, right? So I can't hear it. I'm taking myself away from social media and all these things that are interrupting me. And then I get really quiet and I get really clear and I meditate, or I just am quiet with myself and let some real thoughts about what I really want for my own life to start to be able to come to the surface again. And then to implement those, right? And to be like, oh, you know what, actually, I don't love this thing in my life, or I do love this thing and I want to do more of this. And then creating our life around it, right? And most of the time it goes back and connects to our purpose, which I believe that we have an overarching purpose, but that purpose changes and morphs as we change and morph and grow. And so the story we want our life to tell becomes ever expansive based on how we grow and how we understand our purpose and the wisdom we gain along the journey of our life. It's really just about getting really intentional. That's the basis of it all, is just getting really intentional.
But then you incorporate all of that into design?
Yes. Yeah. So when we're talking about our homes are very much a reflection of our beliefs about ourselves. So if we're not clear on our beliefs about ourselves, right? Tom, you're laughing because
No, I'm laughing because I'm looking at your site.
Yeah.
It's written there. We design for messy, beautiful, imperfect, round, and relentlessly divergent lives. And the people who lead them, right?
Yes, exactly. So our lives.
I'm looking at where I am right now, and I get the messy part. I'm not sure about the beautiful part. The imperfect sort of jumps out. Round, yes. So it's trying to put all that together.
Yeah, I think our lives are beautiful when we understand that imperfection is beauty. We call it imperfection. That's what we assign it, right? But that's not what it is.
Or other people say that.
Correct. Yeah. Perhaps it's not about perfection or imperfection. Perhaps it's just about being who we are. Right. And so I'm using words that people are familiar with while at the same time hoping to change their understanding of those words and perhaps even eliminate their use of those words. Right. because it's not about being perfect or imperfect. It's not about a grayscale between those things. It's about being ourselves and seeing ourselves and being seen. One of the most powerful things in this world is to be seen, to be understood.
Right.
And when we see our home reflecting us back to ourselves, when we not only see it, right, but we sense it, we feel it, we smell it, right?
Smell.
Think about how powerful smell is in our lives. Think about, when I say to people, think about the smell of your grandma or your grandpa's home or your favorite aunt, right? It immediately evokes a specific emotion and a specific understanding of that space. Right. So we need to create that same association in our own homes and trigger that kind of beauty within our own homes with all 5 of our senses, and to understand that it is a reflection of our beliefs about ourselves. Once we get really clear about that, when we change our physical environment, we start to change what's going on up here and our beliefs about ourselves. They are symbiotic beings, right?
Well, what you're saying then, we have to sit down, take those minutes or hours of self-reflection, and maybe not remodel our mind, but maybe just reorganize it.
Yeah, exactly. And in some cases we do need to remodel, but in many cases, let's start with reorganizing. Let's start with getting clear and clean. Let's get rid of all the things that are no longer serving us. Let's understand what's no longer serving us and get clear on the stories we tell ourselves about our life and the meaning we've assigned to things that perhaps doesn't have that meaning at all.
I can see that when you sit down with a client, it's a multi-sensorial encounter.
It is.
You're just not showing pictures of the way things could be.
Correct. Yeah, we don't start with pictures. Definitely not. Pictures happen like 3 meetings later. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, Shana, I want to thank you for being here. I know you're getting ready to step out the door and start your day in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And sense what today's going to be about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
And where can our listeners find you?
Yeah, so the easiest way is to check out my website. It's Concinnate.world, and I'm sure you'll tag it in the show notes, but it's CONCINNATE.world. And all of my contact information is on there. There's a separate tab just about me as a writer and a speaker. So there's lots of information there about what I do, different projects we've worked on, and so on.
Very good. Beautiful pictures as well, as I might say.
Yeah, thank you.
We're not there for the pictures, but we're there for what you're saying. Thanks again.
We can be there for both.
Very good. So thanks again. And for our audience, again, it's Shana Francesca. It's Shana, the last name Francesca. And you'll find her at www.concinnate.world, CONCINNATE.world. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information on their site, focusmi.com. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.